392.
Hey there, welcome to the show. This is Beyond Synth. I'm Andy. I host this show and I have fun conversations with cool people who make cool music in and around the synth-wave scene. And today I am chatting with Elevate the Sky. And we're going to get to that in just a second. Just a friendly reminder that Beyond Synth is brought to you by the awesome Patreon and PayPal supporters, the Pattersons. Like my awesome Kings of the Pattersons. That's right, Mike Shima, Mike Erdahl, Tiber83, Brandon Decker, Timothy Carlton, Randy, and Dinner Dog. You are all cool people. Thank you for your support. I would like to say that Riley Both has upgraded their support. That's right, now in the 1450 Club. Wait a second. Uh-oh. It's not pronounced Both, is it? Oh, you told me this too, didn't you? Wasn't this like years ago? Is it Booth? It's spelled both, but it's pronounced a different way? God, my memory sucks. Anyways, listen. Riley, thank you for your support. Okay, you're cool. And I know there's something about your name now that I'm seeing it that I meant to remember. And we have a new patron this week. That's right. So give a warm Patterson welcome to Woody Piano Shack. Woody Piano Shack, thank you for supporting Beyond Synth. It means a lot to me. And how about we do a random $5 patron shout out to Neon Zone and Chest Press Magoo. Anyways, okay, so we're going to chat with Elevate the Sky now. I should point out this was recorded several months ago. As I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, because the listener call-in shows ended up becoming like a 7-part series. Some of the chats I recorded I pushed forward. So this is one of them, but it's not a big deal. The other thing, not that this really matters, but we had this conversation about like overused songs in movies, and for some reason the reference that popped into my head was Paint It Black. Like that was the song where I'm like, overused songs like Paint It Black, which is actually a bad example because I can only really think of a few references. Like it's in the end credits of Full Metal Jacket and in Devil's Advocate and in some movie commercials, but it doesn't really illustrate my point in the way that maybe Back in Black or Born to Be Wild or Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye, like those are way more overused and I should have used one of those. Anyways, it's not a big deal. I don't know why I had to mention it. So let's go chat with Elevate the Sky right now. Alright, well I'm here right now with Elevate the Sky. Now, you have so many names in a row, so what do you... what do you like? You sort of have... Because your middle name is kind of like another first name.
Yeah, just Scott.
Is Scott cool?
Totally cool, man.
All right. It's just because the Eric is the part that I get, and then I go like, what do I say?
Yeah, it's actually my first name, but when I was a kid, I did not like that name, so I chose my middle name as my first name, and it just kind of stuck from there. I don't mind Eric now, but I'm just so used to Scott, so I just stick with it.
Is there people who call you Eric?
Not really. I mean, every once in a while somebody will. I know I worked at Borders bookstore, and there was like 3 Scotts there, so they were like, you're gonna have to be Eric. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So they called me Eric.
How was working at the bookstore?
I actually enjoyed it. It was probably my favorite job that I've had, at least for a corporation, because most of them are not fun. But working at a bookstore is really fun. It's just walking around, picking up books and reading books on your own time, and that's about it, really.
Speaking of like corporate job things, today I went to Walmart and they were having one of their like pep meeting things, but they do it like in the store.
Oh yeah.
Like not in the back or in like some like the office or whatever. So like they're like literally clapping because fucking Steve's been there for like 20 years. Yeah. And so he's celebrating his 14th year working at Walmart, and everyone's like clapping. And so there's like a bunch of workers, they were like in the clothing section having this public meeting. I feel like there was one guy that was watching their meeting, like who wasn't an employee, and he's just like standing there, like if he was like waiting for them to be done so he could ask somebody a question. Yeah. And it was really awkward to watch that guy because I'm sort of watching him like, what are you fucking doing? Like, this is embarrassing enough for these people. Like, and then he was like clapping along though too. So I'm like, oh, wow. Maybe he's like some backroom guy that doesn't need to wear the outfit.
Maybe.
Anyway. I can't deal with that stuff. I only had a normal job for a short amount of time. It was at a bank, and we had to have these like daily like team meetings. Yeah. And it was like so useless because like where we worked wasn't like, it was not about upwards mobility in the section I worked in. Like the section I worked in was all about opening envelopes and taking money out and putting it in another machine. Yeah. And it was just me and literally like 40 other Filipino ladies who were like so much faster than I was. And we would have these stupid team meetings. It's like, what are you doing? Like, all you want us to do is sort money faster. So just let us do that. Like, this meeting is against your own interest. Like, just, we want to work. Yeah. We don't want to hear you talk. Anyway, did you have meetings like that at Borders?
Yes, actually we did. And I actually worked at Walmart too. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's very similar, the same old pep talk, you know, and it's like, oh, great, make us feel all happy, and then realize that, well, you're not going to get paid that much or walk up the ladder that much. So
I don't get that culture. Like, it's sort of embarrassing. Like, I'm the kind of guy to just like, just leave me alone. Just let me work. You're paying me to work. Yeah. Just let me work. And this meeting sucks. It's almost like more embarrassing. Like, you'd think it'd be like, oh, it's great because you get to fall asleep or not pay attention. But it's almost like worse than doing work.
Yeah, it's just a waste of like 15, 20 minutes. And then you probably won't get your actual break because you're too busy.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah. So it's like, okay, let's trade that.
Were you ever like employee of the month anywhere?
Oh yeah, definitely. Walmart, Whole Foods Market. You know, I can't even remember if they did that at Borders. They probably did. But I wasn't there for very long because by the time I joined the team, they started shutting down stores. So I had to switch over to Barnes & Noble because they had shut down that
holy
store
smokes.
I worked at. Yeah.
You've quite the fucking history here, man. You've worked at all the big ones.
I've worked everywhere. That's what happens when you're a musician because, you know, you don't really make money. You don't really make money as a musician. So you just always work in different jobs that you're like, you know, I have to work a job where I can actually have this day or this weekend off for gigs. Mm-hmm. So you're just juggling all these weird jobs.
Is there any more we can add to this list or what?
Oh my goodness. It goes on forever. Lowe's, you name it. I've worked them all. Well, that's fucking wild, man. Yeah. Why do you keep leaving them? Do you get bored? Do you get fired? Pretty much bored, or, you know, looking for something with a little bit better opportunities. I guess the last one I worked at was Whole Foods, and that actually paid really well, and you could walk up the ladder pretty fast. They actually encouraged it. Like if you worked in Whole Body, which is like supplements, they'd be like, hey, you want to learn produce today? You know, they would let you like shadow somebody, or if you were interested in learning other departments, you could do that and move quickly. So that was really fun.
Well, you're a responsible man, always working. That's a good thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, at some point, I feel like I'm going to have to get a normal job again, and I don't know how I would even do it.
Oh, man.
Like, I don't even know what I would put on a resume. Like, to go into, like, a regular working place and be like, what have you been doing for the past little while? I'm like an internet radio show for, like, synth-wave? Like, I mean, like, I don't even know, like, how does that transition into, like, but at the same time, I don't want a job that requires my brain, right?
Yeah.
I've said this a million times on the show, but I just want to stack boxes and just have fucking earphones in my ear.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same position, too, because after all the retail and all the different kinds of work that I did over the years, you know, I started doing Uber because it was the one thing that made sense, that would give me my own time, my own schedule to do my music. Mm-hmm. And then I stopped doing that, you know, start doing music and things start picking up. But I'm like you, you know, it's just not paying the bills anymore. So I might have to go back to work myself.
Well, at least you have a nice looking resume.
No, thank you.
I want if I go looking for a normal job, I want your resume.
Hey, there you go. I'll let you borrow it.
Geez, well, you know, I was at Borders, but then they shifted me over to Barnes & Noble, and I was at Walmart and Whole Foods and Lowe's. Yep. Some of these places aren't even in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm like a world traveling worker guy. Actually, no, I think we have all these.
I think so. At least a lot of them. I should move up to Canada and work at Sobeys or something. Tim Hortons.
Oh, Tim Hortons would be a shit job, man, because they're so busy.
Yeah.
I mean, even in like my area, there's like literally like population like 50, and there's like 4 Tim Hortons, and like there's always like lineups out the door and shit.
Wow.
Listen, before we get carried away here, I think we should listen to some music.
Let's do it.
You put out this album, and there's lots of songs on it, and they're good, so we're going to listen to a bunch of them.
Oh, thanks.
Tell the audience what it's called.
Dreaming in Color. Just come out in October.
It's... Wait, what? This is like a fucking premiere? What the hell?
No. It's been out for a month.
Oh, we're in November now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, my brain is a fucking puddle of shit, okay? I should know. It was literally my birthday last week, and my birthday is not in October, so I should know my own life. The point is, it's a good album, and why don't we listen to the titular "Dreaming in Color" by Elevate the Sky. And that was Dreaming in Color by Elevate the Sky, and I'm here. Elevate the Sky right now. Scott, a very diligent and responsible man. And when he needs to work, he works, and he works everywhere.
Everywhere.
And when he's not doing that, he is producing music. So how does that work then? Like, it seems like you work in like proper jobs, or were you always doing like part-time? How do you have time to do the music? Do you just do it when you get home? How do you have time for a social life? What gives man?
Oh man. Well, it's kind of varied over the years. I would say over the past 5 years or so, it's been part-time. And so that's, allowed me to have a lot more time for my music. But when I worked full-time, it was just whenever I could get the chance. Because, you'd get home from work, you're just tired, just like, I don't feel like doing anything. But sometimes I'd have to force myself, or I wouldn't have any music at all. So,
yeah.
But working part-time has really opened up the doorway for me to be able to do this. So I'm really, really, really gracious of that.
Do you ever date your coworkers?
I definitely have.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, talking about finding time for your personal life as well as music and then your job. Yeah, that's a lot to, you just kind of subtract in other places. Like, okay, well, I'll sleep less, or I will play less video games, or I will just not go out.
Well, I do the not going out thing, but it's hard to, the video games and sleep, man, they're important.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of vitamin C and vitamin B in those, so.
Fuck's sakes. Dude, Johnny, my kitten, is trying to climb. So I have like a little office, which I've put moving blankets on the walls for sound, because I do not have the budget for a proper sound protection. And the kitten's been climbing them. So he just gets there and he just climbs all the way up. And he just climbed and pulled the cable out of one of my monitors.
Oh, no. Oh.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get back there while still talking to you with it. You fucking goof. God, he's so damn
they will
cute.
Find a way.
He's like the cutest cat, but he's got like a squishy-faced Persian, and he's orange. He's like the same breed as Chester, but he is a fucking little troublemaker. Okay, how about this? I got my earphones on so I can hear what you're saying. Tell me how you got into the synth-wave scene, man, and I will listen diligently as I try and find the cable for my monitor.
Okay, so back in 2014. Now, I discovered synthwave in 2011 because I saw the movie Tron Legacy at the theater, got on YouTube looking for the soundtrack, just going down all these rabbit holes, discovered Laserhawk and Kavinsky, that kind of stuff. Fast forward, because I was doing other music at the time, more like rock and stuff like that, so I didn't quite jump on the scene. But in 2014 and 15, I think it was in some kind of clothing store, and they were playing Electric Youth, Innocence. And I immediately got out my phone for Shazam, got the song, went home, found it on YouTube, the video. So I guess that was late 2014. And then the rest is history. That just led me down a rabbit hole, and I discovered like the Midnight and FM84 later on, Michael Oakley and Morgan Willis. So the music I was already writing was already kind of retro in the sense that it was kind of 80s a little bit, kind of 90s. And so I just kind of scrapped everything I was already writing except for a few songs and just tried to add that synthwave flavor to it. And it really took me a long time because I was having a hard time deciding if I just wanted to write fresh, just brand new songs and scrap everything. And so that took me a long time to finally come to the conclusion of like, you know what? I'll just keep a couple of songs and just try to put the synthwave stamp on them and then write new stuff. And that's why it took me longer than I wanted, because initially I was going to try to release the album in like 2015, and it really took the entire 2016 and 2017 to finally find my sound that would fit into synthwave. And so I finally released some music in late 2017. But I didn't release the album until 2020, so that goes to show you like how slow I work.
When you say you're making like more kind of rock music before, was that like, did you have a name, or were you still just making music and figuring things out, or did you actually release stuff in other genres?
I did have a name called Fears In for a little bit, but I scrapped that name pretty quickly. And I did release on MySpace, and then of course, MySpace disappeared, so all that music is gone online. But I guess it was probably around 2015 and 16 that I decided, you know what, I'm not going to use Fears In for the synth-wave stuff. So I come up with Elevate the Sky because I was trying to find something that sounded really positive and uplifting, kind of like Sky's the Limit, but I didn't want that to be my band name. You know, Sky's the Limit.
You didn't consider Fears End 83?
You know, I came really close to scrapping Elevate the Sky for, I think it was something like Prototype 86 or something crazy like that. Yeah, so almost scrapped Elevate the Sky for one of those number names.
Is 86 your number?
No, just it wasn't used at the time. You know, you had FM 84 and, you know, you had Time Cop 1983. So I thought, hey, 86, you know. Oh, yeah. And then September 87 came along. So, you know.
Didn't Dan Terminus have like a generator at one point?
I think so.
I swear he put up a little website with a little simple generator that did synthwave names.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's fun. That was so much fun back. I guess it was probably around 2015 to 2017. There was this retro pool group on Facebook, and from time to time we'd all get on there and just post like, you know, hey, post the most synthwave name you can come up with, and we kept that post going for weeks. It was just tons of just, you know, everything you could think of.
I do like this new wave in the synthwave scene of nostalgia for the early days of the synthwave scene.
Yeah.
And it is a thing. I catch myself doing it, and a lot of people, we catch ourselves in conversation where it's like, oh, are we like, remember 2015, man, going on the Facebook group and doing this and that. And like,
yeah,
it's so funny to just be nostalgic for the nostalgia scene. Like it's a funny thing.
It is, man. And I remember, you know, certain moments like it was yesterday, because in the retro pool group they had this contest, battle of the bands, and this is where I met Megatronics, you know, Power Rob and Dark Rob. And the reason why I met them, because they were one of the very few people that, because I lost, you know, I think I'd come in third or second place or something like that, and Megatronics won. They were like the only people to reach out and say, congratulations, man, your stuff was awesome. So I remember that, and I'll always remember that. You know, Megatronics was so cool like that.
It's a lesson for all of us out there. You know, there's nothing like a little bit of positivity on the internet.
Exactly.
To even out all the horrible, horrible, horrible shit on the internet.
Yep.
It just sucks that the darkness is so much more powerful.
Yeah, that's true, man. It keeps us going, though, you know. It gives you a little kick in the ass, you know, so you can, you know, lift yourself up. And, you know, sometimes you do need a change, right? Like if you're comfortable and all this stuff starts happening, well, it literally helps you get out of your funk. But if that didn't happen, you probably would just, you know, rot away the same boring person.
Yeah, are you going to be that guy that stays at Walmart forever? Or are you going to be that guy that says, you know what, I'm going to Whole Foods yes. And then I'm going to go to Borders, and I'm going to leave behind a chick in every place. That's going to be my trajectory. Every time I go to a new job, I'll get a new lady.
There you go. New job, new lady, new music genre, right? It's like, what's next?
I like pretending to be a cool guy. It's fun. My actual life is just me sitting in a little tiny room that is covered in blankets all over the walls with a kitten who's unplugging my computer. That's my life.
Hey, you are a cool guy, because for years I've been listening to your show and forcing my girlfriend to listen to it as well. So.
Oh no.
We would go get hamburgers, and I'd have, you know, Beyond Synth on blast, and she's sitting there eating a hamburger, and I'm just like, you know, listening to you, and you're like saying fuck this and fuck that. And she's like, oh, you can say that on the show? I guess so.
Wait, what's your girlfriend's name?
Cassie.
All right, Cassie, I apologize. I formally apologize to you. I'm sorry. Anyone who like, hey, you got to listen to this. It's just, oh no, these poor people. Well, look, listen, enough about that. Let's listen to something cool. I want to listen to another track from this album, and this is one I really dug. It's an instrumental track. It's called Little Tokyo. So let's listen to that, and then we'll be back. This is a Little Tokyo by Elevate the Sky. And that was Elevate the Sky with Little Tokyo. And I'm here right now with Elevate the Sky right now, Scott.
Yeah.
Whose real name is Eric, but he prefers Scott.
That's right.
This is something I like people who actually listen to the show over the years. Is there any time you were ever listening and you were like, man, if I was on this show, here's what I would say?
You know, I don't remember, but I will pretend like I had something, and it'll be like, hey, what's up, Neon Fox? What's up, Karin Zoe Lee? What's up, gang?
No,
What's
I
up,
mean
Michael
like,
Oakley?
no, those people don't count. I mean like, you know, like you, you know, like you're listening and like I'm talking to a guest and we say something that you really disagree with and you get really upset.
You know what?
And you're like, oh man, if I was on this show, I'd tell them that fucking that movie's great and they're stupid or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I ever disagreed. Yeah.
You're a very agreeable guy. I like that.
I just went with it, you know? Yeah.
Even that episode where we just talked about how great white supremacy was. You didn't have a problem with that one?
Darn it. I missed that episode.
That was a very special episode.
You remember that fashion wave back in, I guess it was like 2015, 16. It was like this big deal or something.
Oh,
it's
dude.
Like, wave is so racist and fashion wave. And,
oh my God. And there was 3 artists. There's literally like 3 of them. And then they get a fucking Guardian article. No one ever fucking wrote about synth-wave. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right? Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's all fucking, like, nobody cares, and all of a sudden, like, well, there's a Nazi there, we better talk about this. I'm like, why don't you talk about the fucking great music that cool people are making?
Yeah.
Oh, my, like, there was this time where everyone was, like, so excited to talk about Nazis, and they would just, like, find them all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
It was really frustrating because there was so much great people and talented music coming out of this scene, and then the fucking... one mainstream article is about some fucking idiot who didn't even make good music. They just took electronic music and put Hitler speeches over. Like, I could do that.
Yeah.
I do that. And it's the best.
They just gave them 15 minutes of fame by doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, just don't talk about them and they'll disappear. Well, at least they won't get famous, you know.
That was my thing, because I literally didn't even mention it. Like, the first time I ever brought it up was probably only like a few years ago. Like, I never talked about it at the time because I was like, I'm not giving this any fucking airtime. But now it just kind of bugs me just because how lazy it was.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a joke. I remember one of the dudes, like, the song names, like, it seemed like a joke, so I thought it was funny at first, because I'm like, oh, I get it. It's one of these, like, fucking trolls. Like, you get your sense of humor from South Park, and you're like, I get it. I'll make a fucking thing that's, like, offensive or whatever. And then when I sort of paid a slight more attention to some of the song titles and lyrics, it's like, oh, this isn't funny.
Yeah, it's like, crazy because everything is blurred. You know what I mean? Like, there are people out there that do it as a joke, and then there are those who take it serious. And it just is blurred now.
Well, I think then people need to be conscious of their audience.
Yeah.
Because that's when I can sort of tell, like, okay, something's off here. Like, you know, at this time, there's so many people who go like, oh, you can't do these things in comedy anymore and this and that. And meanwhile, I'm still seeing a ton of funny shit all the time.
Yeah, there are.
People just have to be aware of, like, you know, you can see your audience. And if you're going in a direction and you can read all the comments and people are, like, not taking it the way that you're intending it, then you just have to get on top of that shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid to lose their audience, or they get like, you do something and then your audience goes a certain way and you don't want to lose popularity, so you start pretending to like what they like.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem, because there's some stuff, like there's some dark shit that I find really funny, but it's tough when you're laughing at something and you're like reading the comments under and like people are like acting like it's serious. They're just like, yo, that's a real good point. I'm like, the dude's being ironic though, man. Like,
yeah, you know, I mean, it's very trendy. If you look back to comedy, it's always been in waves of like, it'll get really politically correct and then it will get really loose. And the funny part is, I think it really takes a person that might be the butt of the joke to break that. For instance, let's say Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, they came in at a time when it was kind of happening. And then they kind of broke that door down, and then it was like really not politically correct for a little part of the 80s. And it was just kind of go in waves, you know, we're back and forth. But yeah, I just think it just takes somebody that's, I think as long as you're original and you know your audience, like you said, I think you have the ability to kind of almost be able to say anything you want, but you just got to know how to do it. You know, you can always tell when somebody's really cheap about it, you know, kind of like the comedy movies that are really like forced, like, oh, we'll throw in sex, it's so funny, and then it's like not really that funny because it's so overdone. So it's just like that, right?
Not to like to take your example so literally, but I've always been confused by that.
Yeah.
There's a few things when it comes to R-rated comedies that always confused me, and it was nudity and gross out scenes.
Yeah.
Because it always felt like, oh, it's an R-rated comedy, so there has to be some nudity and there has to be a scene where people vomit or slip in shit or something. I never understood that connection.
Yeah.
Like, why is there a gross out scene in like every R-rated comedy? Like, it's not funny to me. Like, it's gross.
Yeah.
And then nudity is another one that I'm always like, there's nothing, I don't know how to express this properly. There's nothing funny to me about a naked lady.
Yeah.
Like, they're not funny to me. Like, once I see a naked lady, my brain sort of switches modes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, naked lady. And it switches to like naked lady mode.
Yeah.
And there is something funny about dinks because they're stupid looking. So like, I find a naked man funnier I don't find a naked woman funny at all. And I also find them distracting even in action movies.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s action movies where for no reason they would always like walk into a strip club and there's be like some ladies naked. It's fine to see them. Like, I like seeing them, but I don't know. It's like it never really helps the plot or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once again, it kind of goes back to kind of almost like a cheap shot. Hey, we'll throw this in there because it might help the movie out. A lot of people like naked people, so...
And maybe that's the difference, like, with stuff now. It's just that I think the internet has made the need for that go away.
Yeah.
Like, because I think, like, in the 80s, it was like a cool thing. Oh, I'm going to see an action movie, and maybe I'll see some boobs, and that'll be, like, exciting. And obviously, like, with the internet now, seeing boobs is not a very exciting thing. And so there's, like, kind of less reason to have that sort of gratuitous nudity and stuff, because people are sort of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're desensitized to it now. But yeah, I mean, once again, I just think things go in waves, and sometimes trends can really kill stuff. So being innovative is the key to bringing things back to life, you know? Kind of like synth-wave, right? Like the 80s sound, you know, Stranger Things and Turbo Kid, and there's so much cool stuff that come out of this resurgence. But I don't think it would have happened if it sounded exactly like the 80s. You know, it took people to just kind of like throw in a little 90s touch, 2000s, and just kind of reinvent the wheel. But I feel like we're back at that again, where now it's like not so innovative anymore. So that's life, right?
That's always been one of the trickiest things with this genre in general. It's like, I mean, obviously there's been stuff throughout the whole history of synthwave that's been very sort of samey and kind of plain. But then if you veer too far away, then is it synthwave anymore? And like, how much can you bend it before it just isn't that thing?
Yeah.
And then what do you do when a genre is like very particular? Like, it's a tricky thing.
It is. But I mean, I think the great thing is this is every genre of music. You have your listeners who just listen to music and they catch the trends and the waves and they just kind of move on with their life. What's the next trend? Then you have the people who just love music, so they're always searching for something fresh and new. And what's great about that is they keep the stuff alive that is innovative within each scene. Like, I've always thought like Alpha Chrome Yayo is one of the most creative and great artists, but he's not even close to the level of the Midnight in terms of popularity. And it's like, why? You know, because most people, they latch on to the most trendy and popular sounding stuff, right? And that's everything. And because of that, but it's still fun to at least know that we can go listen to that, or we can listen to, you know, System Glitch or something that's just has a fresh sound to it with the influence of synthwave together.
Yeah, I think it's just people like, they like what they like, which is a dumb thing to say, but I've noticed that like when I play like synthwave stuff for my wife, like she likes 80s music, but it's more like she likes the stuff she knows.
Yeah.
And to me, I like the sounds. I like it, the technical. So like when another band comes along, if they make something that sounds, you know, electronic 80s music or whatever, that's exciting to me because it's like, it's another thing I can add to the collection of stuff to listen to. Like, I do like building a collection of awesome music, and what's fun to me is to find things that I don't recognize but that tickle that itch, you know, or whatever. Like, tickle the itch, that's not an expression, is it?
I think so. Tickle, scratch the itch, maybe. Yeah, I forgot what that was.
Now I think my wife gets a lot of her music from TikTok. It's not the radio anymore. So now we're driving, and then like my wife puts on her playlist, and it's like, this fucking song, you've heard this like a million times on TikTok videos, like that earworm thing. If you just hear a song a million times, and I think that works on people.
It does.
For me, I find it really annoying. So sometimes I get frustrated by patterns. Like when I start start to notice patterns.
Yeah.
Not in a like insane person way, but like if like a commercial comes on so many times and it's playing the same song, and then like another commercial comes out and it plays the same song as the other commercial.
Yeah.
Because it's like a trendy song. I get mad.
Yeah.
There's like millions of things you could put here right now. Like, why do you have to just follow the trend and just play the same fucking thing that the other one played?
Oh man, it bugs me too, especially in movies or television shows.
Yes.
Because the library is so vast. But yeah, I mean, I think most of that has to do with just licensing. So certain companies, whether it's a movie company or whatnot, they have a specific library they pick out of, because they don't want to pay as much money as they can save. They'll do it in any way possible. And one of those ways, unfortunately, is to save by not really going out there and paying for music. So they just keep the same libraries and stuff that is not, I forget what they're called, but there's a specific person that works at like a music label that will keep all the old stuff alive. You know what I mean? Like the Doors and whatnot. Like that's their job, to kind of find a way to get that onto stuff. And then you have the rest of the team who's just like basically getting the new stuff on there, looking for the hottest trends. But yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, the movie one drives me nuts because it's either let's play the huge hit from last year. So that's like when you see like a trailer for Trolls or something. Or any DreamWorks movie. It'll be the one hit that was like, wasn't this a hit like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And then a bunch of rock crap from like the 90s where you're like, that's just been in every other DreamWorks movie. Like they just all have the same soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then there's just like these go-to songs, especially in trailers. Like A Love Thing will happen and then Hello by Lionel Richie will play. And it's like, dude, I've seen this exact joke like 100 times. Like, It just bugs me when you're dealing with like a creative field.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the person who's like the millionth person to like, and then there's a scene, and then all of a sudden like Paint It Black by fucking Rolling Stone starts playing. I'm like, dude, I've seen this scene like fucking 50 times. Like what? Like you're gonna play the same song? Like, come on. Especially if it's already iconic from another movie.
Yeah.
The thing with mainstream music is it conjures, like, we all have attachments to music. And so when you play a mainstream song, you also have to deal with the emotional baggage that the viewer is bringing because they're hearing that song. So it's like Michael Jackson Beat It, and people just go, if they like that song, then they like the scene or whatever, but people might not like that song, and you have to deal with that, which is why I always think you should just put original songs that people haven't heard, like putting no-name actors in movies, where you go like, here's a new experience, and here's an actor who you don't recognize, so you're not coming at it with like, your history with the movies that you've already seen them in, and then if you hear a song you've never heard before, then you're going to just associate it with the movie you're watching, instead of, that's the song that was playing when that guy kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's mainly because they're playing it safe, and it's irritating because they have the power to get people used to and conditioned to something fresh and new. I felt the same way about, especially like Stranger Things. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought Kate Bush and Metallica and Motley Crue and all that stuff on the show was cool, but it's like, that could have been a perfect opportunity for them to reach out to the synth-wave scene and just fill it full of all these new artists,
Yeah.
And that could have done something, I think, for the scene. But instead, they're just going to play the same old stuff. It is irritating, but these movie companies are playing it safe. And all they have to do is realize that, when you look back to the 90s, when Nirvana broke open the door, you had glam metal, but then Nirvana comes along and just wipes that out. Well, they just always wait for that instead of trying to like find it and create it, and because they have that power. It's just like you said earlier, the more you hear something, you're gonna like it eventually, at least for the most part.
Except me with fucking Alana Miles' Black Velvet.
Oh yeah.
I hear that song like so many. I started filming my clock radio every time that song comes on. I have a local radio station that I think only actually has the rights to play like 30 songs. And Black Velvet is one of them, so like it's just Anyway, listen, I want to listen to some of your music, all right?
Let's do it.
So how about we listen to Outrun? I'm just gonna sit here in silence until you say yes.
Oh, yes. Outrun. I thought you were going to come back and say, we're back. Yeah.
This is Outrun by Elevate the Sky. And that was Outrun by Elevate the Sky, and I'm here with Elevate the Sky right now, Scott. We are talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about movie soundtracks and overuse of songs, and
Yes.
in 2014 you were at the mall and you heard Electric Youth, and what else?
And that was history. That was all she wrote, as they say. Yeah, just discovering synth-wave, and we're talking about how things get stagnant and, overuse of the same music, and, which happens in everything, which is the way I feel right now about my own music. Like when I'm writing songs, I'm like, I just don't want to write that anymore,
Yeah. So then what's going on in your free time here? You playing any games? You relaxing? What goes on?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I just got back from visiting some friends I grew up with, went to school with and everything, which is really a blessing because, a lot of people, they don't stay friends with their school buddies after a while. But, just got back from doing that. And, and actually, a friend is coming. I don't know if you've heard of Sunset Surrender, which is also a synthwave artist, is coming out to visit Los Angeles this week. So we're going to hang out. So that's going to be fun. So I've been able to kind of do other things because there for a while I was just working on all the music and mixing and all that kind of stuff.
Wait, so you haven't had any time to relax, to chill out?
Oh no, I don't do that often. Yeah. I mean, I had an Oculus, but unfortunately I was not very smart and had soda next to it and spilt that on my Oculus, which is actually probably a good thing because I was just stuck on that forever. I would stay in that thing from the time I got up to the time I went to bed. So
I can't do the VR games where you move. I can only do like room scale.
Yeah.
And the ones where you sort of stand still.
Yeah, certain games will affect me that way. Some of the games with movement, I was fine. I found that if I would take it slow and just kind of, if I were to move to try to focus my eyes where I was moving and not do it fast, I found that moving really fast and then like maybe my eyes didn't catch up with where I moved, that's when I would start to get sick. So I was just kind of practiced at that and it got better. But one of the games that still made me sick was like this roller coaster game. I just couldn't get used to that one.
Yeah, it sucks. I wish I could play those types of games.
Yeah.
Because the only ones I can do, because I tried not Oculus, what's the Facebook one? The Meta Quest.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried the Meta Quest 3 that's got the mixed reality stuff. Like, because I was worried, because after playing like other things that sort of gave me nausea, I was like, maybe I can do mixed reality, and I can do that and feel okay, like when you just see your own house around you, but like zombies just smash through the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I can do the room scale games, like as long as I'm the person doing the moving. But it's crazy how the second I play a game where you move forward by pushing, up on the joystick,
Yeah.
like my disorientation is immediate. There's not even like after a few minutes you start to feel weird. The moment the camera moves and I'm not moving with it, like my legs,
Yeah.
it's instant, like it feels like the world has just been like pulled from under me like a carpet.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. So what I'd like to do though, like the MetaQuest like scans your whole room. So I just want to go like to someone who has like a big garage or something, and just play in like just a giant open area or like a gym or something.
Yeah. Same.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because I would hit too much stuff in the room.
Yeah. Like soda cans.
End up the next day with all these bruises and cuts. 'Cause it's like, it doesn't matter how big your room is, unless, like you said, it's as big as a garage or something like that. Then, yeah, I would love to have just a building dedicated to that.
I think that's going to be the future. Like someone's got to do, if I had money and could invest, what I would do is this. Instead of doing like laser tag, I would have a structure built and I would do it based on classic multiplayer levels from video games. So it would be a real place. Like we actually build like the facility from GoldenEye and it's a real place, but then you wear virtual reality headsets and then that populates the world with like, characters to shoot at and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it also adds textures to the wall, because then what you would do, so you're in a real place and then but you move around freely and then you change like the way the game looks. So, the walls are all just sort of padded, nice kind of soft material in case you run into them. And then it's like, oh, I want it on GoldenEye mode, so it looks like the facility from GoldenEye. But then like, oh, I want this to be like a science fiction thing where you shoot robots, and then it changes the walls so they look like spaceship walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the geography of the map is the same.
That would be awesome.
And then play with other people too, and you all have, so there'd be like real multiplayer where there's people running around the map with you. Yeah, man, that'd be fucking wicked.
Yeah, I would be down for that. For sure. Maybe the whole thing inside is made of like, all kinds of cushioning and stuff. So you could flip off of stuff and land on your back if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I guess they could still get sued if you land on your neck or something, but you'd just sign a waiver or something.
I feel like it should be made from the play place. Like, when you go to like a McDonald's play area and they have that kind of matting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would make it out of. So it's like it's still solid enough that you can move around, but then it has to take into consideration that you're going to swing your arm and punch the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the 3D world would be mapped on the real world. So really, you would see all the objects you could bump into. Like there wouldn't be anything invisible. Like the wall is the wall.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you hit something because, in the game world, there's nothing in front of you, but in the real world, there's a lamp or your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then you start strangling that lamp, and all of a sudden you find out, oh crap, I'm strangling my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I just wanted to strangle this lamp.
Accidentally punch somebody in the face and trip over something and knock down the television and everything.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be awful. I'm sure it's happened before.
Wait, what am I talking about? You spilled a drink on your Oculus and it broke?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It fried it. Here's the horrible part. I wasn't even
That's
playing
an expensive
the game.
Device?
Yeah.
That's the horrible part.
Yeah, that is the horrible part. But the worst part is I wasn't even playing. It wasn't even on my head. I was just sitting there with a drink and was not smart enough to have my Oculus Quest up high somewhere. But no, I had to leave it on the ground as I was taking a break. And, well, that's it. It's gone forever.
Oh, there's nothing worse than whenever I feel like I'm comfortable and everything's okay, just when something dumb happens where your life becomes about that chore for the next little while.
Yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating to me than I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some editing, I'm gonna do this and that, and then as I'm walking, I just fucking knock a cup off the table, and it's like,
yeah.
So I guess this is my next 20 minutes is fucking sweeping up glass. Like, and it always drives me nuts when like just a chore gets invented.
Yes.
And like, oh, I guess I'm soaking fucking coffee out of a carpet now, and that's going to be my life for the next hour, like trying to get rid of this stain. And it's just like, I didn't go into today thinking I needed to fucking suck coffee out of a carpet, but...
And glass is the worst too, because you're just looking everywhere because you definitely don't want to step on it.
And for fuck's sakes, you never get it all.
Nope, you don't.
The other day, I was moving a fucking table, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to... Here's my life lesson I've learned. Never do the fucking shortcut.
Never.
You always pay the price. And for me, it literally is always that way where I'm like, I'm moving a table and it's covered with stuff, and I'm like, you don't need to move the stuff. It'll be fine. You're just sliding the table. So of course, I go underneath the table, and I had to I had to push it just like an extra inch. I'm like, okay, and I pushed it an extra inch, and this fucking like glass jar thing, because my dad fills this house with ornaments, and so it's like a museum. It fucking fell and smashed on my head, dude. This was like the other day, like the whole. And ouch. I mean, I was more concerned. I'm like, I hope my dad never notices I did that, because like I think that was valuable. Yeah. Anyway, it just fucking broke on my head, and it was like, so then that was the whole thing. Like the chore was supposed to be move this table, and now it's like, I guess I'm on glass cleanup duty. And you can never clean it all. And it's always like 3 days later, you're sort of walking by that area and you see like a little glint of light on like a little thing. And like, dude, I fucking swept, I vacuumed. How the fuck did I miss this fucking piece of glass? Like, it's just this really obvious piece of glass. And it happens every time.
Oh, yeah. And you'll always find one really far away, like maybe even behind something. Like, how did that even happen? How did it travel and go curve around?
Did you ever watch Dexter?
Oh my gosh, yes, I love that show.
Yeah, so I'm just picturing now, like, there's probably someone who's like, he's got like the string from where the fucking glass breaks, and he's got like the strings pointed like all around the room, and just like, because I've always wanted an explanation. It's the same with how all of my cables always get wrapped around each other.
Yeah.
Like, way too many times for it to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, like I can have like a pair of headphones and like a microphone cable, and I'll just set the headphones down on the table, and when I come back next time, the headphone cable is somehow wrapped around the microphone cable as if someone ran around it like 4 times.
Yeah. They have a life of their own.
How did this happen? I just set it down, but now the act of picking it up is causing me to pull the microphone stand off the table because of the way these cables are now intertwined. I just want to set up fucking like cameras just to film. I just want to see there's some little elf that just like runs in here at nighttime and woohoo, a little fucking tie your cable. I don't know why he talks like that, but he ties my cables.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it doesn't matter how well you lay your cables or wrap them. They're always gonna, intertwine and just get all messy, and I hate that too. I also hate it when you have the microphone, like a microphone or even headphone cable that gets all twisted, and no matter what you do, it's still going to curl back up, and you're just like, I need the length of the cable here, and it's like all twisted and curling back up. And no matter how much you stretch it out, it just doesn't work.
There is no way to fix that, right?
I know. I guess just buy something else,
Because I know I did reverse an old phone cable, but it was just for a prop, because I wanted it to have like the springy curl again, and it was all like twisted out of whack, and I heated it up.
Oh.
And then I wrapped it around like a marker or like a tube to get the shape back in its curls.
Yeah.
And it actually worked. I mean, I don't know if the phone ever worked again because it was just a prop phone. So, but I did get the shape of the wire back. But that's a totally different thing.
Cool, Andy.
Yeah, man.
That is super cool. Earlier when you were talking about resumes and if you had to get another job, well, you just found it.
You're right. I can go work for the phone company.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, listen. After that riveting story, I've decided we should listen to some music. Let's listen to "Moving in the Shadows," and then we'll keep talking. So this is "Moving in the Shadows" by Elevate the Sky. And that was Elevate the Sky with the track Moving in the Shadows. I'm here with Elevate the Sky right now, Scott. We're talking about cables getting tangled, pouring drinks onto Oculuses.
Yeah, very synth-wave stuff.
Yeah, I feel your pain, man. Did you ever see that video where I tried to fix my iMac?
Oh, I think so.
I think it's on my Vimeo page.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a hard drive and I tried to install it myself into an iMac. And it was one of those iMacs, you know, they're not as thin as they are now, but it was still where you had to like buy a kit where, you know, you pull the screen off because it's not like a regular computer. You have to like peel away some sticky stuff and then use suction cups to pull the screen off or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I put the screen back, the cables for the hard drive were so tiny that they weren't connected properly, so I had to take the screen off again.
Oh.
Except I had just put on all that fresh new sticky tape, and then when I tried to take it off the second time, I cracked the screen.
Oh.
Well, it's in the video. The scream I make, I mean, some people find it pretty funny.
Oh my goodness.
Because it is a funny scream, because it's just, I'm just horrified, because in that one moment, I'm like, well, it's $1,000. Like, stupid
man.
Mac screens are like $900 to fucking replace.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sell the damn thing too, and I'm just like, well, there goes the resale value, all in one dumb moment.
That's all it takes. And it seems to happen a lot. No matter what you do in life, it's like, get ready. You know, it's like, what is it? The saying is like, if things are going swimmingly or smooth, get ready, because it's about to go to shit.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the expression, but I feel that
well,
way.
no, but
yeah.
It's a little bit more, you know, it's a little bit more beautiful sounding. But,
yeah. I like yours. You know what they say, when things are going swimmingly, it's about to go to shit. That's my whole mentality. It's something I have difficulty with. Like, I'm never comfortable feeling good.
Yeah.
Because I'm always concerned that if I acknowledge that things are going okay, then some ironic fate will happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can't admit out loud that like, hey, things are going okay, because if I do, tomorrow I'll fucking fall down the stairs, or, you know, something stupid will happen. And so I always have to sort of temper every single positive emotion I have. So even when things are good and I'm happy and comfortable, I still always have to remind myself that things could be bad, or not enjoy it too much, because then it would be ironic if things fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the solution to that is either. I feel like I have a lot of questions today and no solutions.
Join the club. Yeah, I mean, I think a balance is a good place to be, right? Enjoy it, but don't get lost in it to the point to where you're just going to think that, okay, well, from here on out, things are great. Always expect the worst.
The first part of that sentiment sounded okay. I guess I'm just envious of people who can, like, even though I think boasting is like one of the worst human qualities.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people boast, and it annoys me. But then there's part of me that's like kind of envious and jealous of people that can do that as well. Like, they just think their life is so awesome, and they just walk around talking about how awesome everything is happening for them.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that's just like, God, that must be cool to just be that confident about how good things are in your life that you can just say that even. And oftentimes it's these people who, like, horrible things are happening, and it's like just like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey man, everything's going great. I'm like, isn't your house getting foreclosed? Like, what? You know, but I wish I had that mentality where I could just spin the shit into gold or whatever. That's not an expression either.
Hey, we're making all kinds of new expressions today. This is great.
Gotta spin that shit into gold.
Yeah, I like that. It's better than the squeak. What is it? If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It's better than that one. So
it kind of is, but at least that one sort of makes sense. I think I was doing like a Rumpelstiltskin kind of thing, because he spins the gold, but
yeah.
I don't think it's shit he turns to gold. Maybe that's a different character.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Anyway, so what's going on in the fucking in the life of Scott here? Is there something coming up for you that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I just released some CDs, because I just released the MP3 streaming, and tonight I just uploaded the CDs on Bandcamp. So I'm really excited about that, and been working on some videos. You know, nothing big or anything like that. Not like high production videos. I just kind of stuff I make on my own. Just to have something to promote the music with. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And hopefully, not 100% sure yet, but hopefully down the road, maybe next year, early next year sometime, I'm hoping to get some vinyl That would be awesome. It's always been a dream to have a vinyl album, you know, that's expensive.
Is vinyl still in like short supply, or has that been solved?
I think it's okay now, but it seems like it's always off and on like that quite a bit. I think mainly because, you know, since we went away from that back in the, I guess, the 80s and 90s, you know, you just didn't have plants that made the vinyl, or at least not in the way they did back in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. And I think what happened is just out of the blue, like everybody wants vinyl now. So I think that's why the demand overrode the supply. Yeah, I remember that.
Because there was a pretty significant shortage during COVID, right? Like I remember that was a thing where everyone's vinyl orders were like delayed by like 6 months because Adele wanted 1 million albums or something. I feel like everyone was blaming Adele.
Yeah. Yeah, because prior to that, I mean, you know, you had people that would go to like these record shops and stuff and get old vinyl, but then all of a sudden just, you know, maybe not single-handedly synth-wave, but I think synth-wave is a big part of kind of bringing back the, you know, everybody wanting vinyl. So because of that, you know, you had people making fresh vinyl, not just collecting vinyl that's already been made years ago and setting in a record shop somewhere, you know. So I don't think people were prepared for that.
I mean, the vinyls I have, people just sent to me, and they're more just like collector's things that like I would just like put up on a wall or something.
Yeah.
I feel like they're missing a trick by just produce the album cover, and then instead of putting a record inside, just like a lump of plasticine or something that like weighs the same.
Yeah.
You know, and save the vinyl for the people who are actually going to put it on the record player.
Yeah. Exactly. But you know, I mean, I don't even have a record player. I only have like maybe 4 vinyl albums, but eventually I would like to. But the only reason though is because I like the art cover, you know. I like the art on the cover and it being that big. As far as like, you know, of course you have audiophiles that will argue that it sounds better. I mean, I think there's a different sound. I think it's very subjective whether it sounds better than all the other mediums, but I think overall CDs and, you know, even MP3s, yes, there's a little bit less quality, but I don't think it's so much that it's just like, I'm not listening to music now, you know. But there are people out there though that just swear by vinyl, and that's just what they want, that vinyl sound. But yeah, I would just be fine just having the albums just to look at and not ever playing them, you know.
Yeah. When it comes to like the audio quality, like MP3s to me are fine. Like I actually don't notice the difference between like a 320. Like the only time I ever noticed a difference with MP3 compression was like in the early days of like Kazaa and Napster and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because I downloaded a lot of music on a slow internet connection. There was a lot of songs that were compressed, you know, to be like fucking, I mean, even when I put out Beyond Synth, I put it out at 96.
Oh wow.
So that the file sizes are smaller because it's a podcast. Like it's a tough balance to reach because it's a music show, but it's also still a podcast.
Yeah.
And I can't be releasing a fucking 500 megabyte download, you know, every time an episode comes out. Like it has to be smaller than that.
Yeah. I can see you now with all your external hard drives just to be able to put all this stuff on there.
Well, dude, I already have a shitload of those because like... Well, I guess because there's like over 380 episodes of the show. So like there's that, like just all the
amazing
backup files and stuff. But yeah, but I've never noticed, like, I mean, I know some, like my brother was like collecting all these FLAC files and I would listen to them and I'm like, I feel like, do I need a better stereo to hear the difference between this? Like, because I don't hear it. And I feel like the only way to appreciate it is if I now invest like thousands of dollars into some speakers, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're going to definitely hear a difference depending on the type of system you have, the type of headphones, you know, the quality of it, the frequency spectrum that it has, then yes. But for most people, especially now, I mean, most people are just, you know, they'll listen on their phone or those really cheap iPod earphones or whatever. So yeah, I don't think they care as much. But yeah, you're gonna have that select group of people that they have that monster system in their house and they're gonna hear it and go, "Oh, this sucks," you know.
Yeah. Even when you subscribe to like Spotify and you set it to high quality, it's still not 320, is it? Like, isn't the high quality for streaming like 160 or whatever, or 180 or something?
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, because they're gonna compress it. Because I mean, that's also the argument with people getting really loud mixes. It's like, it's understandable if you're gonna put it on a CD or something, because you're gonna retain that loudness, that level. But once you put it on streaming services, they're going to compress it. So it's not going to be loud like, you want it to be. Yeah. So I think that plus the bit rate, the quality is definitely not going to be what you want it to be. So yeah, I don't think they're there yet. And I don't know if they will. They probably don't really care.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, people listen to music anyway, 160, 180.
Yeah. It's the same as like streaming movies and stuff. Like, there's a little bit of compression and artifacts and stuff, but just the convenience of not having to put a disc in the machine is enough for most people. So if you're like that kind of nerd that really cares, then you watch your physical media that you own.
Yeah.
But for the most part, even I don't even notice. Just like if I'm watching like an action movie and there's like a lot of fast motion.
Yeah.
And you're watching it on Netflix and you see like weird compression and stuff. Or it's funny to me that like HBO, I think they only recently changed their logo because the original logo has this fuzzy TV effect.
Yeah.
And on streaming, it can't do that. So like every time an HBO show starts, like if you're watching like classic HBO shows on streaming, like it always goes all pixelated and weird when the HBO is up there because it can't do the fuzzy TV thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, looks... This is all good stuff, right? Listen, let's listen to another song.
Let's do that.
I want to listen to We Are the Dreamers. How about that?
That's a perfect track featuring Michael Oakley.
Yeah, man, I know him. So let's let's listen to that, and then we'll come back. So this is We Are the Dreamers by Elevate the Sky. Is it featuring Michael Oakley?
Yeah.
What's the official thing here?
Featuring Michael Oakley.
Okay, no, because in the version you sent me, it doesn't say that next to the track, so I don't know if that's like...
Yeah, it doesn't say it now, since we put it on the album, but when we released it as a single, but it's still the same exact version, so...
Well, the bottom line is it's cool, so let's do it. This is We Are the Dreamers.
Dreaming at the mall, we found our destiny.
And that was We Are the Dreamers by Elevate the Sky, featuring Michael Oakley. I'm here right now with Elevate the Sky. Scott,
Hey.
is there something you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about?
Oh, I know. Do you have a particular track that's your favorite? Maybe we can talk about the process of that song or something.
It's a good question. I honestly think my favorite one is Little Tokyo. I like that song.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of got like
That's
a video
great.
game kind of vibe.
Yeah, thanks. Or is Dreamers going to be the final song, or are you going to take us out with one more song? If you take us out with one more song, maybe we should talk about that song.
Now you're expecting a level of professionalism from me that I just can't deliver.
Oh, good. I'm very spontaneous, so I go with the flow. I just go with the flow.
Also on this album, though, you do have a balance of instrumentals and vocal tracks. Like, do you know going into it, like, is that an intentional thing, or do you want to do vocals on all of them and then some of them you just decide not to, or was it always going to be a mix?
A little bit of both. So I kind of went into it, definitely wanted some instrumentals. I definitely know there's a lot of people in the synth-wave scene, or, well, maybe not a lot, but there's some people in the synth-wave scene that just do not like the vocal synth-wave stuff. So I at least try to have a few on there for them. And, going into it, there was a couple tracks that I started writing vocals to that it just didn't happen. And so I decided, instead of scrapping the song, I just decided, well, I'll just keep it as an instrumental, and it worked out. And that would be like Santa Monica, actually. I was going to work with Holly Dotson Parallels to do that song. And, of course, our schedules didn't allow that to happen. So that didn't work out. She went on tour and all this kind of stuff. Then I was going to work with Bunny X. Same thing happened. They were working on an album. And so it just didn't pan out. So then I said, oh, I'll give it a shot. And I just did not like my vocals to it. So I said, you know what? It's going to be an instrumental. And that's how that happened.
When it comes to the actual production of music and stuff, I mean, obviously you're like a guitar guy too, right? Because you
oh yeah,
you like to shred.
Try to.
I think I've just been doing this now to troll my audience, but I like filling an entire conversation with somebody and never talk about music until the very, very end. And that's where I'm like, maybe we should talk about your process. But was that your instrument, or were you always into the synth stuff, or are you a guitar guy?
I started out with the synth thing because my brother played piano in the 80s, and he bought a synthesizer. He had an Alpha Juno, and I loved it. I'd just go, mess around with it. I didn't know how to play any of that stuff, but I would just like you said earlier about just the sounds alone was just enough. So you could just play a note and just sit there and listen to that. So it really started out with that, because Blade Runner was one of the first movies that really caught my attention as far as synth sounding music. And my brother would listen to that as well as Tangerine Dream a lot. So it wasn't until the mid to late 80s that I really started getting into the whole rock and metal thing, and picked up guitar in the 90s. So guitar is technically my second love, but it really did kind of take over as my first love for years, up until about, the 2010s.
Wait a second. Wait, how old are you?
Too old. 47.
I always thought you were a young guy. You look good for your age.
Oh, thank you.
I always thought you were a young guy for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, thanks.
That means you're older than me,
I've been around the block.
You old bastard. I'm 42.
Well, you look young too, Andy.
I just turned 42 last week.
Just a number.
And now I got to go on a diet. My body can't handle all the candies I want to give it. It's ridiculous. Okay. Well, that's cool. I got nothing else to say about that. I just for some reason, I thought you were one of those dudes in their early 30s. That's what I thought.
Oh, wow. Thank you. What's your bank account? I'll send it straight to your PayPal or Venmo.
Oh, that explains this storied work history now, because I'm sitting there thinking this dude's 32 and he's worked 80 jobs. That's crazy. But now it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was the late bloomer, as they say. I picked up the guitar, I guess I was probably 17 years old. And, I always loved music. That's the first memory I have, is just listening to music in the living room with my parents. But I didn't even bother thinking about seriously playing an instrument until probably I was 17 when I picked up the guitar.
Right. But when you started making stuff.
Yeah.
And you said it was like rock stuff. So like you weren't doing any keyboards for that, were you?
No, there was one band I was in called U-Turn that I played keyboards. The main instrument was guitar, but I did play keyboards because we had, for a rock band, it was kind of like Bon Jovi, where there was like a little bit of keyboard in the background. It was kind of like that kind of stuff. It was nothing playing all these fancy notes like any of these major synth-wave players now, like playing all over the place. But I still can't play like that. I just play mainly chords and melodies on the synthesizer. So yeah, I guess technically the guitar really is my main instrument, because once I picked that up, I just kind of stuck with it. And the only reason why I went back to keyboard after the fact is because everything changed, like music was heading in a different direction. It was all pop music and EDM. And so I thought, I've got to do something that incorporates something different outside the guitar, because the guitar was just not the thing anymore in the 2000s. So I just kind of started piddling around with the synthesizer in the 2000s. And as time went on, I discovered M83. And then, like I said, I discovered, Laserhawk and Electric Youth. And that just kind of, from that point on, I just kind of really stuck with synthesizer and really got into songwriting more than just noodling on the guitar, which is what I used to do, in other bands, rock bands, just, solo time, So that's what I would do then.
So like when you first decided to start putting like the synthwave element into some of those songs that you had already written, what was that process? Like what exactly were you doing? Like were you just like, well, the song's already here and I'll just do like a synth chord, or like what were you trying to do?
So by the time I started that project I was talking about, Fears In, I'd already started incorporating some synthesizer. Like a big part of the song was the guitar, like whether it would be guitar chords or, distorted or clean guitar. And then I would add mainly the synthesizer for layering, like maybe a pad or string sounds. But by the time I got to writing and trying to figure out how I was going to take some of the older songs and throw the synthwave stamp on it, I just kind of maybe added like, the famous Poly 6 bass sound and throwing on some more like polysynth sounding synthesizer sounds and pads and brass sounds. And then it just kind of, from that point on, it just started becoming natural to me, But at first, yeah, it was kind of hard because the kind of synth stuff I was doing was more like what you would hear in Coldplay or something. You might hear strings in the background or something, or a piano. Mm-hmm. So I had to completely adapt to this, using all these analog sounding synthesizer sounds you would hear in like 80s movies and stuff like that.
Right. So how about this? I know this is like an abrupt... Look, we were going to say goodbye, but then we ended up talking for a while. So how about you pick a song that that we haven't listened to yet?
Cool.
Or you can pick a song from anything you've ever done. How about that?
Cool. Sounds good.
And then we'll say goodbye. So this is the dealer's choice now. You pick an Elevate the Song track to... elevate the song, I just said. I think it's bedtime for me. Elevate the song.
Hey, that's pretty creative.
Oh my God. All right, you pick a track and then we'll listen to it. And then we'll say goodbye.
Sounds good. So I pick Radio, Hearts Beat in Stereo.
Now, what is this Hearts Beat in Stereo in brackets?
Well, okay, so, of course, there's a lot of songs that have the same title throughout history, and even I have songs without the brackets that are song titles that already exist. But I just thought, I wanted something to separate it from just being radio. And the whole Hearts Beating Stereo thing is just the whole kind of homage, because the song is about me growing up listening to the radio, and that's what really inspired my path in life. But at the same time, it's like those relationships you build because of music, like the people you meet, whether it was a girlfriend you met through music or a friend, a great friend that you met through music. And so I wanted to tie those two together, like not only being inspired by the radio, listening to it as a kid, but also remembering because of that, you made all these wonderful friends through that. So it's just kind of like, Hearts Beating Stereo, like we're beating together, kind of really cliche and, cheesy, but hey, it's the 80s, 80s influence. So gotta have the cheese.
And it's also some good search engine optimization. So if people go typing in your song and look for it, if they type in that extra brackets, they'll find your version of the song.
That's true. You know, I didn't think of it that way.
Well, this show is all about search engine optimization. And one of these days I'll learn how to do it. So let's listen to this, and then we'll wind down. So this is Elevate the Sky with Radio, Hearts Beat in Stereo. was Elevate the Sky with the track Radio, and then in brackets, Hearts Beat in Stereo. And I have been chatting with Scott, in brackets, Eric.
There you go.
Well, listen, man, it's been fun chatting. People should go check out this album. Awesome. I've just been informed that October happens before November, which means this has already been released. By the time this episode airs, it'll still be out.
There you go.
You don't plan on taking it off the market, do you?
Oh, no. Not anytime soon, anyway. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, Andy. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Are you playing any shows in the near future or anything like that? Or you just taking it easy or working on new tunes? What's the future hold for Elevate the Sky?
No shows, unfortunately, at least not anytime soon. But I will be releasing like a short little EP in 2024 with Race Against Time. Because I did a music video with Brad Aiken, who's done videos for Michael Oakley, FM84. This is a really cool video and I can't wait to show that video. But I'm going to take a little break for a while and then release that in 2024.
Do you find it difficult just to sit on something that you know is there?
Yeah, because it feels so old. You know what I mean? It's like once you finish it and you don't release something, it just feels old and you almost feel like just, you know what, just scrap it. But sometimes you just got to force yourself and say, you know what, don't put a date on it, don't put an age on it, just release the thing, you know, and enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't hold on to things. It's like the second something's edited, I have to put it out immediately.
Yeah.
And so when I hear like artists who are just like, oh yeah, man, you know, I wrote this album last year, and I'm just like, how the hell are you just sitting there without putting it out? Like, don't you want to know what people think about it? Like, it's just, it's tricky.
Exactly.
Well, look, I look forward to hearing that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, look, man, it was fun chatting.
Thanks.
You're a cool guy. Keep making cool music.
Thank you.
Go get your girlfriend a glass of water or something.
There you go, without spilling it, of course.
Yeah. I hear her coughing away back there, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's under the weather. But I was for the past few weeks, but luckily, you know, I'm better now. So, yeah.
You eating your vitamin C?
Oh, yeah. Get my vitamin C, all the antioxidants. Gots to this time of year, you know.
I think I still don't know what an antioxidant is. I hear that word a lot. And maybe you heard that word a lot when you were working at Whole Foods.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just basically, you know, free radicals or bacteria, viruses, all these things, you know, just like us, need oxygen to spread and that kind of stuff. So antioxidant is just, you know, a different way. Well, I mean, of course, it's not basically cutting off air, but it is something that is going to go in there and fight all those bad things to, you know, make sure that you get well. Yeah. Well, that's the kindergarten version.
Yeah, that's the version I need. This is
yeah, it's been too long. Been too long for me to give you the real definition.
Well, that's okay. It's just a perfect way to end this conversation.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to feel like, what's the stupidest thing that's got nothing to do with anything that I can wind down on? But look, you keep on being cool, and when you put out your EP, we'll play some tracks on the show.
Thank you.
And then you have a lovely evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right, and that was my chat with Elevate the Sky. Hope you enjoyed that. Keep on being cool. Have a lovely day. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the show, to support Beyond Synth on Patreon and on PayPal. It's patreon.com/BeyondSynth. And we'll do a little shout out to Hugh Hefner, Robot Conglomerate, Emil, Zach, Waylon Kasky, Geospatial, Toots, and the Buchelman sisters, Sarah and Rachel. Thank you, as always, for your support. And that's the end of the show. So tune in next time to Beyond Synth. It's the best synth-wave chat show there is, and I'm out of here.
Beyond Synth Radio is produced by Andy Last. Check the show notes for more information on the musicians featured on the show. Consider supporting Beyond Synth at patreon.com/BeyondSynth. Thanks for listening.